morning, Mark. And we are in chapter 17, The Way of Love. And we are at page 95 on the top of the page. But I'm going to go back to page 94 on the bottom, The Cry of Freedom. And good morning, John. John, we are at chapter 17, The Way of Love, first subchapter, Pure Expression. And we start at the sentence, the cry of freedom exists in every heart. All right. The cry of freedom exists in every heart from the very moment of creation. It will not only be heard more and more, but will manifest itself without delay, as has already been shared in other revelations. The expression, quote, limited freedom is intrinsically meaningless, since true freedom knows no restrictions. You cannot be half free, just as half truths cannot exist. One of the reasons why the structures of the world are increasingly crumbling is because the space that in the past was given to the oppression of the soul is being reduced. Eventually, that space will disappear completely. Observe, beloveds of my heart, how what you call universal consciousness reacts to the cry for freedom. As you can observe, the earth itself is telling you in multiple ways, love me as part of who you are and of what I am, your sister in love. The changes in societies also are showing the same thing at all levels. They are revealing to you eloquently and clearly what exists in the depths of the human heart. Let me be who I am. I have come to bear witness to the truth, to my identity as a daughter and son of the eternal light, a citizen of heaven, an expression of perfect love. And let's see if we can hear this one more time. Iona, would you like to read it one more time to us?
Thank you. The cry of freedom exists in every heart from the very moment of creation. It will not only be heard more and more, but will manifest itself without delay, as has already been shared in other revelations. The expression, quote, limited freedom is intrinsically meaningless, since true freedom knows no restrictions. You cannot be half free, just as half truths cannot exist. One of the reasons why the structures of the world are increasingly crumbling is because the space that in the past was given to the oppression of the soul is being reduced. Eventually, that space will disappear completely. Hallelujah. Observe, beloveds of my heart, how what you call universal consciousness reacts to the cry for freedom. As you can observe, the earth itself is telling you in multiple ways, love me as part of who you are and of what I am, your sister in love. The changes in society also are showing the same things at all levels. They are revealing to you eloquently and clearly what exists in the depths of the human heart. Let me be who I am. I have come to bear witness to the truth, to my identity as a daughter and son of the eternal light, a citizen of heaven, an expression of perfect love. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for reading that. It's interesting, this sentence. One of the reasons why the structures of the world are increasingly crumbling is because the space that in the past was given to the oppression of the soul is being reduced. And I don't know how long ago it was, but I and I, we were watching something, was a GFL station, about the idea when you're not claiming your sovereignty. Was GFL station, yes. So it was a video by the GFL station Valier, and how other entities actually could being allowed to take over. Because if we don't claim, then it's up for grabs. So that's kind of the short story of it. And I think that is so interesting, kind of opened my consciousness up, because it's every time when we are not allowing ourselves to be loving, we are actually allowing to give our power away, yes? And then other things can happen to us, but we allow these thought forms to come in because we give them permission, because at some level we resonate with it. Yeah, that was kind of an interesting aspect. Ruben.
The first lines, we start with, the cry of freedom exists in every heart from the very moment of creation. It will not only be heard more and more, but will manifest itself without delay. And in my own experiences, yes, the cry of freedom exists in every thought. But at the same time, I realize the God is in everything and is continually manifesting itself. Like every breath I take is God. Every word I say is God. Like if I say, my father and I are one, and I'm speaking from duality, or I'm speaking from the child point of view. My father and I are one. But when I embrace those two thoughts in my mind, there is nothing else to say. I'm just become the oneness, the love. And now everything that comes from that oneness, like I'm breathing, that's God expressing itself. Every word I say now, every movement, like I said, oh, that's God expressing itself. I was like, so when I rest in God, it's totally silence. Even every movement when I go to the kitchen, every movement is God's moving. I don't have to say nothing. I don't have to think nothing. I just be the observer of the movement. Everything becomes an extension of God. Is God expressing at all time. I'm observing and it's God. It's God. Everything is God. At that point in my own experience, there is no mind. There is only love expressing itself. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Ruben. Charles.
Thank you, Ruben. And what comes to me when reading this, removing blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And since there is only love's presence and nothing but love's presence, since love is the source of all, in all, through all, by all, which all, and all that, there's a space given to experience that which is not. And that space is diminishing because we're waking up to love's presence as being a witness of that presence of who we are. We're witnessing that presence of who we are. And to me, when I see the ice polar start to melt, dissolve into the sea, I feel that I am dissolving back into the being of the presence of love itself. And I feel that love's presence is being more witnessed to now than it has ever been before. And fear is diminishing within the hearts. And the soul and the heart are being restored to the witnessing of God's love. To me, I am a witness of that, or the silent observer of that which is. And I am that which gives rise as the light of God's love. And able to realize that this planet has its own biosphere. I have a biosphere. Everything has a biosphere. And that biosphere comes from presence, which creates atmosphere, which creates abilities to commune and connect with one another. And the more I get into the realization that there is only love's presence, then when someone is acting as other than that, I realize they're just believing something that's not there. And that's okay. because the source of their being, the essence of who they truly are, is love's presence. And I've been told inside myself, they are coming from love, but expressing in the uncertainty of that, of who they truly are. And I am here to stand as a witness of who they truly are. And I bear witness to God's glory in them, which is also in me. And in that, it's shrinking the space that's allowed for the mind to forget and allow for the essence of their being and our being together be shared as one. So I have now become a bearing witness to my brothers and sisters who seem to be thinking of something other than God's presence and bearing witness to who they truly are as love's presence. Because when I desire only this is my experience. For not only for myself, but for all, everywhere. And I no longer look for fault or blame or accusation because it's not there. Nothing's going on. And I see it as empty space awaiting for love to show up. So I love this because, we're citizens of heaven, eternal light, an expression of perfect love, And there isn't anywhere that is not just perfect love. One thing to say it, another thing to know it and to be a witness of it. And this is what I'm doing my identity processes, and I'm saying what is true for me is true for all. And I've been there. I've been in the mind of forgetfulness. I've been ignorant of the truth of who I am, and who we all are as one. And therefore, when I get into conspiracy theories of who's going to wrestle my identity away from God, who's going to steal God's child, I smile. It ain't there. It's just a fear that I have inside me that there's something conspiring against God's love. And I offer it to God, to the Holy One who knows the truth we all share together as one. And I realize I no longer need to react and just allow them just to feel the presence of truth. Anyways, I'm not making much sense right now, but to me, I feel that there is only God's love and there's nothing but God's love. And anything else is just empty space. Thank you. I'm complete.
I think you make total sense to most of us. We were all listening and experiencing what you were talking about, in a sense, yes? It was interesting. You were playing hide and seek for a couple of times in the video, but the moments that you went out was actually significant. So it was kind of an interesting moment that we had here, watching that, you going in and out. And then another image appeared, what looked like a bunch of clothes. There was nobody, but only the clothes. I thought that was very interesting. I don't know if you all saw, but this is amazing. All right, let's continue reading a little bit. Thanks, Charles, for your thoughts and sharing. Christina, would you like to read this? Oh, you don't have the book? No problem. Dominique. So we start with if you think or tell someone.
Okay, thank you, Rob. If you think or tell someone that it must be this or that way, you are denying freedom. You do so out of fear. Let me clarify this important matter.
When you see your sister or brother following paths that you do not like or that you believe are inappropriate due to your personal criteria of what holiness means, you are expressing your lack of freedom. You are allowing the old pattern of thought and emotional response to come between you and the truth. Might you think then that there are no paths to salvation or perdition? My beloved, I know that this thought no longer has a large pull on you, but nevertheless, we bring it into this dialogue so that the universal pattern of that way of thinking and feeling is completely dispelled, not just in you, but in everyone. Remember, we are one mind, one holy being. Stop.
Yeah, we can stop there.
Okay.
See, yeah, we can stop there.
Okay.
We'll read it one more time, but just to let you guys know, because when I was reading, might you think then that there are no paths to salvation or perdition? I didn't know what that word was, but I asked Iona, and Iona will tell you.
Okay, so perdition, which I guessed came from the root perdu, right, Dominique? Lost, right? Perdu, to lose.
Perdu.
Perdu is a formal or religious term that means eternal damnation, hell, or the utter destruction and loss of the soul. It typically describes a state of spiritual ruin or endless suffering in the afterlife. So,
Anyway, it's a very old word, and I had never heard about, so it was very enlightening. I said, "What does this word mean?" So, yeah, salvation of their nation, amazing. All right, let's read this one more time. Ruben, would you like to reread that to us?
Yes, thank you. The change is there, or if you think.
If you think.
Okay, if you think or tell someone that it must be this or that way, you are denying freedom. You do so out of fear. Let me clarify this important matter. When you see your sister or brother following paths that you do not like or that you believe are inappropriate due to your personal criteria or what holiness means, you are expressing your lack of freedom. You are allowing the old pattern of thought and emotional response to come between you and the truth. Might you think then that there are no paths to salvation or perdition? My beloveds, I know that this thought no longer has a large pull on you, but nevertheless, we bring it into this dialogue so that the universal pattern of that way of thinking and feeling is completely dispelled, not just in you, but in everyone. Remember, we are one mind, one holy being. Yes.
Beautiful.
And from that truth, from accepting that I am one mind and one holy being, there is no room for perdition. There is no room for separation. Okay, Iona, I saw el hechizo there, el hechizo here. How'd you get there? I'm complete. Thank you.
Ruben. Thank you, Ruben. I love this aspect of when you see your sister or brother following paths that you do not like or that you believe are inappropriate due to your personal criteria of what holiness means, you are expressing your lack of freedom. And interesting, because what I notice when I'm listening to the GFL station, especially where they emphasize this idea of personal freedom to allow everything to be as it was, but allow people to make their mistakes and not taking what they're saying as the ultimate truth. This is just another perspective. And so they always put themselves at the same level as us. We have to get used to that on this planet, we of course are so used to looking outside of us and have in that way also put a lot of people above us. Even other star nations, yes? And to kind of realize that that is another mistake of duality, another mistake of our own understanding of our own power and sovereignty, our own intelligence. Anyway, just a few thoughts that I want to share. Charles?
I love that. Oh, the breaking up of the common sense, I call it. We used to have, I love the line, we bring it to this dialogue, the universal pattern of that way of thinking and feeling is completely dispelled. It's almost like, wait a minute, there is no more common sense anymore. What we thought was common sense is just someone selling me an idea of what they believe, how things should be. Now they're finding scriptures in the Bible saying there's a guru inside, there's common sense inside you, and that's the only sense you need to follow. All of a sudden, you realize everybody's journey is inwardly, not outwardly anymore. And you realize that the collective universal pattern is now being dispelled. Because that collective says we all work together for a common good of everyone. Right? But now Christ says we work within for the common good of all, in all. For the all in all. For the common highest good of all in all. The desire of the perfect love, which is only found internally. And as we recognize and give witness to that eternal love in each and every beautiful soul, we allow them to be exactly as they are. And I love what you said. It was just, when we become equals, love comes into play. There's no longer a mistake, it's just a misunderstanding. that I'm having about what I'm giving my witness to. And if I change my mind about what I give witness to, then what I give witness to becomes a shared experience I desire for all, everywhere. And it brings compassion and mercy, no longer judgment or right and wrong ways of being or universal way. This is the commons, you know. Used to say lock them up or burn them at the stake because they're not following our common sense realities. But now we have a whole world of individuals who are following their heart. Oh my God. What a world this is going to be. Wow. Everybody's coming from their own authenticity. Oh my God. Let love, let live, let life. Wow. Whew. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, we start to enjoy the differences instead of judging or controlling the differences, huh? It's a beautiful world. All right. So let's read on a little bit more. John, would you like to read? Are you in a space to read, or you want to just relax and listen? Relax and listen. All right. Jesus told you, I am the way. What do you think he meant? Obviously, this statement did not advocate trying to achieve a specific way of being, such as following an ideal self, a pattern of moral behavior, or a certain personality. If you replace the word Jesus with Christ and the word Christ with love, you will see how everything makes sense in the light of the truth. Christ is the way. Is the same as saying that the path is love. In other words, your being is the way, and with it, the truth and the life. As you already know, this is because there is no distance between your true self and your divine source. Remember, what you are is like a beautiful ray of sunshine to the sun, nourished by the same creative energy, totally loving and wise, which we call Divine Mother, God, or Creator. Outside of love, there is no path. Outside of love is no reality. To walk a path that is unreal is to do nothing. It is a fantasy experience. Truly, truly, I tell you, beloved souls, that either you are walking the divine path, which is love, or you are not going anywhere. Thus, when one is not following the path of love. One is off the path, unconscious, living a life of dreams, chimeras of freedom, illusions. And maybe we can hear these beautiful words one more time. Mark, would you like to read, or are you just listening?
Yeah, I have my book upstairs, Hub. So
okay.
I'd love.
No.
I'm loving to listen, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
All of you.
So, Iona, if you can reread that one more time for us.
Jesus told you, I am the way. What do you think he meant? Obviously, the statement did not advocate trying to achieve a specific way of being, such as following an ideal self, a pattern of moral behavior, or a certain personality. If you replace the word Jesus with Christ and the word Christ with love, you will see how everything makes sense in the light of the truth. Quote, Christ is the way, is the same as saying that the path is love. In other words, your being is the way, and with it, the truth and the life. As you already know, this is because there is no distance between your true self and your divine source. Remember, what you are is like a beautiful ray of sunshine to the sun, nourished by the same creative energy, totally loving and wise, which we call Divine Mother, God, or Creator. Outside of love, there is no path. Outside of love is no reality. To walk a path that is unreal is to do nothing. It is a fantasy experience. Truly, truly, I tell you, beloved souls, that either you are walking the divine path, which is love, or you are not going anywhere. Thus, when one is not following the path of love, one is off the path, unconscious, living a life of dreams, chimeras of freedom, illusions. You can see how four words could have been so convoluted over the last 2,500 years. The words where Jesus said, I am the way, and of course was taken out of context, was made into a whole thing, people having arguments over it, fighting wars, killing each other over these four words, when in fact it meant something completely different, but of course was distorted into the field. And we know this was part of the grand play and the grand plan, that we had to come back to the true meaning of those four words, which is, I am the way, love is the way, my being is the way. But we got here. That's how we all got here. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Mark?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on when we're not living authentically from who we really are, which is divine love, then we're creating some kind of an illusion. We're making up stories. We're wasting our time, basically, you know? And, but it's not altogether a loss because, it's still an evolution, but it's not, on a high level. It's just the realization maybe of souls, oh, I should have done it better, or I could have done it better, and I'm talking about like a life review afterwards. But yeah, it's such a beautiful idea to live life from the authenticity of love and not judge ourselves or anyone at all. As soon as judgment enters the picture, it's like the veil comes down, you know. It's but to open up and to live from love, really wishing the best for everyone. And why? Why do we do that? Why would we do that? Because they're a part of us, because there is only one being here, and it's the human being, you could say, and that being is created from love and is made to express love. And that's why we feel so good, when we express love or we reach out to another to help or whatever it may be, But just any little kindness, it's like it opens up the whole field of that divine love that we are, and everybody else is too. So thanks for letting me make that comment.
Yes, thanks for sharing. The beautiful thing is that by sharing, we actually are lifting each other up. Yes. Charles.
I love what Jesus opened up about, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Back then they had the covenant, and they used to keep the covenant in the inner temple. And you dare not speak the name of God outside the temple. And the name of God is I am that I am. And Jesus said, no, I am that I am. So you blaspheme, you call yourself God. But I love the idea that love vaunteth not itself, nor boasts itself, nor all those wonderful things that come from all of that. But I also love the idea that we take rituals out of seeking for love and bring kindness and gratitude and ways of allowance and acceptance. They're no longer rituals, they're just an attitude of expression of love and openness and genuineness. Because I noticed, especially in my younger days when I really felt good and, I did this and I did it that way. And, I got these results from all the things that I did, then it becomes a ritual. And if we could just allow them to have their experience of it that way, but an appreciation of who they truly are, then they'll come to see that a deeper appreciation and love rises deep within that. And they can drop the ritual and just live from that presence. Be still and know. It's not the easiest thing for young people who are always looking to achieve an experience through ritual way of being. And so I think that's one of the biggest challenges for me is not to judge rituals, you know, because that can interfere with me trying to be present. So I needed to see that, and I need to see that more clearly now. that I see a lot of people doing rituals that bring them a sense of real happiness and joy. But I know it stems from love that rises from within them. So, thank you for allowing me to share. Thank you.
Yes, well, it's a good time to be still and know. We have about another 5 minutes, or actually 8 minutes, actually good. I want to take a little bit more time today to for us to kind of connect with the source of our being, so we can kind of close our eyes and become aware of our true being. To become aware of the unity we are with this source, and to allow this being to radiate out from our heart, that lovingness, that kindness, to all the worlds, not just this planet, not just these human beings, and so we feel that radiance inside of us. And around us. And we give thanks to the source of our being. Thank you all for joining. As the famous word and song said, love is in the air. That we may remember that love is always in the air. Thank you. It was wonderful seeing all of you. And we'll see each other again this coming week. Enjoy your beautiful day. In Sedona, it's incredible. It's 79 degrees. It's a little overcast, so it's a beautiful day to be outside and connect. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Hub. Thanks,
Thank you, guys.